Resident Evil 9 will be coming out early next year, and at this point, we don't know what to expect. The one thing that is fairly certain, though, is there's going to be some kind of a twist.
I see dead people.
Yeah, they're called zombies. Twists are a staple in the RE series. Whether it's the bombshell that Wesker is actually a bad guy in Resident Evil 1,
Wesker, you're pitiful.
or the big reveal when Jill died.
Jill!
But we found out she was actually alive.
Jill.
Capcom always likes to keep us guessing, and when it comes to Resident Evil 9, we're expecting more of the same. So in this video, we'll look at double crossings, dead characters being alive, familiar faces returning, and baby daddy drama, as we look at 4 big twists that we could end up seeing in
Resident Evil 9.
I don't know about you, but the first person we see in the trailer, FBI Special Agent Nathan Dempsey, is giving me weird vibes. So our first twist is simple, common, and very Weskery. What if Dempsey is a double agent? In the trailer, we see him ordering Grace to conduct a very important investigation about a mysterious disease.
We found another body. One that exhibits the same pathology as the others we've been investigating.
From an outside observer, it makes perfect sense. Grace seems to be good at her job, she seems to be obsessed with the case, and she's the expert. But then we learn some more details about this particular case.
The Renwood Hotel. I know that's where your mother was murdered.
Hold up. This seems to be a bad idea. We know that Grace is severely traumatized by what happened to her mother, like freaking out and having weird flashbacks. Dempsey claims he is sending her there to help her get over her past, kind of like tough love.
Perhaps it's time for you to face the past.
How noble, and probably the end of the story. But in real life, there is a big conflict of interest here. The cases are clearly connected, it's bad for law enforcement, and bad for getting convictions. Noble my ass. Kinda feels like Grace is so good at her job that she might be onto something. What if that something is there are bad agents within the FBI? I mean, this screenshot looks like 3 men, the one on the left possibly being Dempsey, and it just doesn't feel like a happy screenshot. Are these rogue agents? And if this is true, you can see Dempsey sending Grace right into a trap, and the end result we already know is that Grace gets captured. So, is Dempsey just a good-hearted boss, or is it a twist? Next, we know about Grace's mom, but
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
if Grace doesn't know her father, then revealing that during the game would certainly be a twist. And it would be an even bigger twist if we already knew the father from Resident Evil. The fan theory that I don't believe but think would be funny would be if Leon was the father, and that's why the rumors are he's back in the game. But I mean, honestly, with the gang of RE bros we know, it could be any of them. But let's get a little smarter about this. In the trailer, we learn that Grace is special.
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one.
Odds are she's special because her mom Alyssa took a daylight serum to cure the virus back in Outbreak, and that probably altered her DNA. But what if it didn't do anything, and what if the father is the key to her being special?
Well, isn't that special?
In that case, there's one family that comes to mind. The Weskers. It would certainly be a long shot, but they do have the DNA to make Grace special. I'll leave the rest of the baby daddy theories up to you, but I won't be surprised if the father is a twist in the game. In the announced trailer for the game, we learn that Alyssa Ashcroft is no longer with us. In fact, she was murdered.
There has been a murder.
It happened 8 years ago at a place called the Renwood Hotel.
Alyssa died 8 years ago.
It's most likely an open and shut case, but what if everyone is wrong and the twist is Alyssa is still alive?
It's alive!
The main argument against this is the use of the word murder. That typically means there is some heavy proof. Typically. However, there are several real-life cases where someone is considered murdered and they turn up alive later. Just Google Natasha Ryan. So what if Alyssa is still alive? While it would be very Alyssa-like, I'm not suggesting she faked her own death to go undercover, even though she said she would do anything for her story. With a kid, that seems too far-fetched, so her non-murder would have to be explained in another way. If we go back to the trailer, we see a few flashback scenes that appear to be of Alyssa's final day alive at the Wrenwood Hotel. But Grace is having the flashbacks, and she wasn't there, so they aren't really flashbacks, are they? If we look closer, they look more like a video recording, which would mean Grace's nightmare flashbacks actually might just be a video she saw. And then, let's listen to this audio clip.
Please know that you are my hope.
It kinda sounds like Alyssa is talking to Grace via a video.
Please know that you are my hope.
And it sounds just seconds away from her tragic end. So does something happen on camera that looks like 100% proof of murder, but turns out she survived? Or did she just mention in the video that people were after her and the tape goes dark and they assume the worst? But if she is alive, why hasn't she contacted Grace in 8 years? Well, the simplest explanation would be that she's still being held captive, probably being experimented on because Umbrella. That's why many fans think that the monster Grace ends up facing in the game is going to end up being a mutated Alyssa. Sadly for this theory, the fact that the bad guys kidnapped Grace because she's the chosen one probably means Alyssa, the original chosen one, is no longer around. But what if, just what if, Grace runs into her actual real-life mother again, locked in a cell late in the game? That would be quite a twist. Finally, with all the rumors and leaks about Leon showing up in the game, the most likely twist, Leon is returning in Resident Evil 9. But hold on. Just a few days ago, Capcom developers talked about how Leon was considered to be the main character in RE9, but he wasn't a good fit for horror, so they went with Grace instead. Case closed. Devs said no Leon. Yeah, right. Not only was the guy smirking as he said it, but like, why even mention Leon at all? Why not just say no classic characters are a good fit, because that's true. They're also really emphasizing the horror aspect of the game here at pre-release, but we know Resident Evil turns into action at some point, and perhaps they'll need another more heroic person. Leon is always the popular answer, but perhaps with the Raccoon City story coming to a close in this game, we'll end up seeing a lot more cameos than just Leon. And I don't know about you, but seeing Jill or Barry show up, now that would be a good twist. As we mentioned, it's very early in the RE9 release schedule, and a lot of these might be a stretch. However, from what we do know, I wouldn't be surprised to see one or more of these potential twists showing up in some way when we finally take the controls in
Resident Evil 9.
Crimson Army, do you think we'll see any of these twists? Do you have any other twist suggestions of your own? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe!